Hey guys, and welcome back to the NW Sportscast. Today we have our offensive player grades for the 2023 Seattle Mariners. They did not make the playoffs. How will that affect their grade? Levi, let's get started. You want to just get started with catcher Cal Raleigh?
Yeah, let's do it. So for Cal Raleigh, you're looking at a guy who, in my opinion, had a great season. Um, he hit 30 home runs. He hit only 232 batting average, but for a catcher, that's honestly pretty good. I'm giving Cal Raleigh a B plus.
I like it. I like it. I actually going to give him an A minus. Cal Raleigh is
Okay.
really good. I think he got snubbed from being a Gold Glove finalist. I don't think he ended up getting there. I thought he was one of the best defensive catchers in baseball. Provided a lot of value. I think he built it on a really good year last year. So yeah, I'm gonna give him an A minus. Levi, how about Tom Murphy?
Tom Murphy, yeah, he's an interesting player because when he's good, when he's on. I mean, he played 40 games this year and hit eight dingers. That's pretty darn good. Also with the 290 batting average, the problem obviously with Tom is that he can't stay healthy. He hasn't been able to for a while. But I think all things considered, you're looking at a backup catcher who's hitting 290 with 538 slugging. That's pretty good. So I would give Tom Murphy an A for a backup catcher. But if you're talking about just overall in catchers, I'd give him a B minus. But if you're saying judge him against all the other backup catchers in the league, he's an A.
I would give him a B minus. Because yeah, he was really good when he played, but he just wasn't playing. And that you gotta for me, you gotta not if you don't take the test, you can't get the grade. So I'm gonna give him a B minus.
Wow. Okay.
The end of
Suffering him for the injuries.
the end of the year, we really could have used him, and we had Luis Torrens instead. Cal Raleigh
Yeah.
really had
Brian
some
O'Keefe.
yeah, Brian O'Keefe, like, that was a lot of just wasted at bat. So, look, obviously when he was on the field, he was really, really good, but you have to also judge a player when he's not on the field. That's definitely part of the grade. B minus is not bad for a backup catcher at all. Okay, you want to go Brian O'Keefe?
Yeah, I mean O'Keefe. I'm giving O'Keefe a D minus. He wasn't supposed to be any good, and he wasn't. So yeah,
I'm giving him F. Hit 105. I
yeah.
don't, he really didn't do much. So
Played
that's,
8 games.
Luis Torrens we can kind of skip over. He had what, 5 games, 8 at bats.
I played about 5 games. Yeah, I
Yeah,
would give him a D. I would give him a D as well.
I think he's
First base, we've got Ty France. What's your grade for Ty?
Ty France. Played a lot of games this year, 158 games. Let's look at the batting average here. We got 250 with a 337 OBP. Not great by Ty France. Definitely regressed from last year. But when you look at his second half from last year, it's really similar to how he performed this year. So is this just the Ty France that we should all expect next year? JP Crawford said he's going to bring the driveline a lot. Hopefully that helps him out. But this year, his grades got to be a C for me. Played pretty good defense, which is always helpful. But I mean, your first baseman has to hit more than what, like 12 home runs, whatever he got. So,
Yeah,
you know, really bad on the base paths as well. Just not much there. He did get hit like an all-time 36 times or whatever, which is like a lot. So that's kind of interesting. He did get on base through that quite a bit, but other than that, I mean, it's just not a great year by Ty France, and we really could have needed him. If we were just a little bit better, we'd probably make the playoffs.
yeah. Ty, he regressed pretty much every category this season. The home runs just were not there. The average got worse. He had fewer hits this season than he did last season, and he played in 20 less games, so or
Yeah,
20 more games. He played more games this season and had less hits, so that's not a good thing, obviously. Um, I would give Ty France a C minus. I think that when you look at the average first baseman, if you're given a C as an average, Ty is slightly below average, and that's obviously not what we brought him in to be. We brought him in to be an above average player. He made an all star team, and now he's down to he's replacement level, and that's why you have Drew telling us how much he wants Pete Alonso on the team.
yeah,
Ty just wasn't it. he was not the same player this year. Now, you
And
could argue that he should be a D plus instead of a C minus.
I really like Ty too. This is hard for me. I really do like Ty. Next up, we got
Yeah.
Mike Ford, first base slash DH. Levi, at the start of the year, if I told you he would play the ninth most games in the entire Mariner organization, I mean, I think you'd call me crazy. I mean, he was sitting on AAA trying to revive his career with, after some good game, like a good few years with the Yankees. But Mike Ford, ninth most games. He did it 228. How many home runs did he have? 16 home runs, which is not bad at all. Six doubles. He had a solid year for what he was meant to be as a backup DH slash first baseman. I would give him a B.
Yeah, I mean Mike Ford, he was our DH this season. He played 5 games at first base and I think 65 at DH.
Yeah, pretty much.
Again, you look at the numbers. I mean, they're not terrible. 798 OPS is not even that bad. 122 OPS plus, 323 on base percentage, batting average 228. He had 16 home runs, only 34 runs batted in though. So he wasn't really hitting home runs in big moments. He was averaging a bunch of solo home runs in kind of meaningless games.
I mean, he
Um,
had more homers than Ty France with half the
That's
games.
true. Half the games, more runs. He also struck out 81 times in 83 games, so that's not amazing. But overall, I think it's a little bit unfair even to judge Mike Ford because you're like, well, he's your DH. He only hit 228, but it's like if he had played a full season, he would have hit 30 home runs. So when you look at it that way, it's like maybe Mike Ford's not as bad as we thought. I still don't think he should be on the team next year because he kind of had one amazing month and then really cooled off after that. I would give Mike Ford a B minus, I think.
Yeah. So I think we're pretty similar there as well.
Yeah.
You want to go to second base?
Yeah. Who was even our starter? Who
Our
played the
starter
most
is
games at
Jose
second
Caballero.
base?
Jose Caballero.
Did he really? Well, it looks like Colton Wong played one more game at second base than Jose did.
Jose Caballero played more games, not
He played more games. Colton played more at second base, though.
okay. So we can do either one, but let's just start
Yeah.
with Colton Wong. I'll give him an F. Really
Yeah. That was
really
he was so bad.
really didn't add anything. He had like one big moment where he had a go-ahead home run with 2 outs against the Tigers, and then of course freaking Munoz blew that. So, and that was the one game, of course, we needed to make the playoffs. So whatever, but I mean, bad defense, not just did nothing this year. Really didn't. And then he hit 300 with his 40 at bats on the Dodgers, which is kind of funny. But anyways,
Did he
not
really?
yeah, he did.
Of course he did. Of course he did. Yeah, Colton Wong, I'd give him an F. He had a -1 wins above replacement. So literally having him on our team made our team win one less game supposedly. Then an average player would have gotten us to the playoffs. That means because we were one win away from the playoffs. So again, blame Colton Wong. You will not be disappointed.
Yeah. All right, you'll see Jose Caballero. I remember hearing him on 710 for the first time. I was like, who the hell is this guy? Somehow he snuck into the majors. Even though I literally working at the Rangers, I did not know who this guy was. He got called up pretty early on. I don't know why, but I don't know why. Do you know why he got called up so quickly?
Well, Dylan Moore was injured, so we needed a
Okay,
utility man.
got it. Yes. Okay. But he came up and produced immediately. I think he's slowly declined throughout the year. Pretty good pinch runner to in the ninth or eighth or ninth inning for Scott Service to bring him in. Plays okay defense, hit 221, not great. 2.4 wins above replacement. He was a solid player. He really was. 26 stolen bases. So he kind of reminded me of a worse Sam Haggerty that we had last year.
Yeah.
Similar type player, kind of just a utility guy. For what he was, I think we have to judge him more on a utility slash pinch runner type guy. I'll give him a B minus. Because again, he did good, but not, he still did hit 221. So
Yeah, I'm honestly not sure where his 2.4 wins above replacement comes in.
Probably
I'm
20.
really kind of baffled by that one. I guess because of the steals. Yeah, I mean, he was not a good player. I mean, 9 doubles, 4 home runs, 26 runs batted in. So he did have some nice runs batted in for us, but he hit 220 and he had an OPS plus of 90. So he's below average as a hitter, OPS 663. Um,
Not
I
good.
maybe his defense and I guess his defense and his speed is what made him a 2.4 wins above replacement level player. And again, when you look at him like as a second baseman, he's like a D, right? He shouldn't be a starting second baseman. But as a utility guy, he did what Dylan Moore was supposed to do for us, better than Dylan Moore was able to do this year. So in that scenario, you can give Jose Caballero. I would give him about a B minus. I think maybe have I judged him too harshly? I'm looking at his stats. I'm like, okay, well, he actually contributed to some wins. But at the same time, he also contributed to a lot of losses. So B
Yeah, good
minus as a
guy.
utility guy.
For being such a good like base runner. I remember a few moments where he got picked off or
Yeah,
had a
he had a couple of bonehead decisions.
yeah. I'll go B minus for utility guy, but if you're gonna go strictly second base, probably closer to a D. All right.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. I'm working on my MLB full positional rankings, which I'll probably post those to the other channel when those are done. But I'm gonna rank the utility guys. I'm gonna take the best utility guy from each team and rank them. I'm intrigued to see where he's gonna fall on that list
Yeah,
because like his numbers are not even that bad from a utility
really
standpoint.
not. Really not. Yeah. Let's go Sam Howard next. He was kind of,
Yeah.
only used not, it only had 91 at bats, 50 games, was in and out of Tacoma all year long. Compared to last year, I'd give Sam Haggerty probably a C, C minus. I'll go with a C though, because he did hit 253. He wasn't absolutely awful, but he was not great. Seems like his speed kind of declined just a touch. Didn't make as many plays happen on the field. I remember last year thinking, man, whenever Sam Haggerty is in the game, he just makes something happen. He
Yeah,
steals
and
the
that was
bag,
not the case this year.
he steals a bag and then he scores on a single, or he steals a bag and then there's a pass ball, gets to third, and then somehow winds his way getting home, makes a good play in defense, maybe beats out an infield single. But this year, I just didn't see that kind of chaos Sam Haggerty baseball that I really grew to love last year, and I think that really could have helped us last year in the playoffs. So with all that being said, I'll give him a C because again, he wasn't awful, but when you compare him to last year, he was a lot worse.
Yeah, I mean, Sam, it's disappointing because when he did start playing well at the end of the season, you were like, yes, this is the Sam Haggerty that I remember. But he only played well for about 10 games, so his batting average 253. It looks pretty good, but
Yeah.
he only had 91 at bats this year. He had 175 last year, so he had about half the playing time this year than he did last year. He only started 18 games in the field. So he really didn't do his defensiveness, which is another big part of his game, is defense, and he didn't really
Mhm.
get a chance to let that shine. He was actually played almost as much DH as he did for any other position, um, which is another kind of baffling move by Scott Service, in my opinion. But anyways, yeah, Sam, he played pretty well for about half the time he was in, but he just wasn't in enough. So I'd give Sam Haggerty a solid D minus, or no, D plus. I give him a D plus.
All right, we could do Rojas here.
Yeah, another utility guy. I mean, are we judging him on this whole season, or I guess we're judging him on how he did when he made it to the Mariners.
Yes, correct.
So yeah, I mean, again, for utility, pretty good, all things considered. 245, 4 home runs in 38 games.
He had 270.
40, 270. That's true. I was looking at his full season. Yeah, 270 for us. 400 slugging. So yeah, he played pretty well for us. Stole 6 bags. All 4 of his home runs this season were with us. Um, and solid defense as well. Look, I don't think he should be our starter. There's a lot of people right now on Twitter who are saying Josh Rojas could be our starting second baseman next year, and I don't think that he should be. He's really a platoon guy.
He
I
could be
think
on the
when it's
roster, not be mad.
yeah, I think when it's all said and done, he's very similar to Caballero, but I think we would rather keep him in the majors than Caballero just because Rojas has a bit more of a track record, and we also did trade our star closer for him. So I think there's a bit of a mindset of you got to justify making that trade. So I think he can play a very solid utility. Um, I'm going to judge him as a utility player and give him a C plus, but as a second baseman, again, it's a D minus as a second baseman.
I would say better than D minus at second base. I would give him probably a C plus. Really didn't do that bad. He had a really slow start with us the first couple of weeks. I remember watching his first game at T-Mobile Park, him and Kinzone's first game. Kinzone was astronomically better. Rojas really didn't make contact. It was, didn't have a good play in second base that game either. I was like, who is this guy? We're cutting this guy the next season. But then he really did turn it around. Not great, but I'll give him like a C plus. Moving on, we can go to JP Crawford.
Yeah, so for a shortstop, you're looking at this is JP's best season of his career, easily, right?
That's fine, yeah.
He put up 5 wins above replacement. This guy was good. 19 home runs for a shortstop. That's great. 266 batting average. He has an OPS plus of 131. Career year for JP, and I'm gonna reward him by giving him an A minus. Especially when you
All right.
put it up to all the other shortstops in the MLB this year. JP was borderline top 5.
Yeah, with that being said, I'll give him an A plus. I think
Okay.
he was really good. Really, really good, especially when you compare to what JP was at the start of the year, hitting in that 9 hole and making his way all the way up to the leadoff guy. Had added some power to his game. He was 1 homer shy of a 20 homer season, Levi. Really,
Yeah,
really
true.
good. He makes them. I know what the defensive statistics tell you, but when I just watch just the eye test, he is not a below average shortstop. He makes really good plays in the field, can turn double plays. I feel like he gets to every ball. JP Crawford was everything and more of what you wanted from a Seattle Mariners shortstop. And now going into next year, shortstop is not a primary need. And last year it was, the year before that it was. Like, I don't remember the last time when we had a shortstop where I felt confident going into the next year with. And JP Crawford is that guy. He's the captain. He's the guy that everyone chants to name JP. JP. He's that dog. I would say he's behind Julio Rodriguez. He's the face of this baseball team. And I would say in the clubhouse, he probably is the face of the baseball team, not Julio Rodriguez. So JP Crawford, I would give an A plus. Listen, if he does this again next year, I don't know if it'd be another A plus, but when you look at what he was expected to do and you compare it to other shortstops, A plus.
Yeah, I mean, I see the argument for A plus. I feel like A plus has got to be reserved for someone who just had a truly elite season. But JP, I think an A minus is a very nice grade for him. Look at third base. Eugenio Suarez, the guy who played in, I believe, every
Every game,
single game this season.
he didn't start every game.
162. He started about. I think there's about 10 that he came off the bench, but he he was a freaking Iron Man.
Yeah,
And you wonder if maybe that contribute to his production kind of falling off a little bit. His production
probably.
actually didn't fall off that much. I mean, compared to last season, he scored fewer runs, but he had more hits, more doubles. He did have 9 less home runs, which is the one that a lot of people will point to and say, well, the home runs, but more
And the
runs batted
strikeout
in.
still a problem.
He had more strikeouts. He actually had
Most
18
strikeouts.
more. Led the
Most
league
strikeouts.
back to back seasons. He's led the league in strikeouts. That's crazy.
Yeah. And
But he
Taylor's
still
not.
manages to hit 232.
Yeah, but oh, man, when I look at it, there's so many times I remember guy on third, 1 out, put the ball in play, he struck out. Guy on
Yeah.
second, no outs, put the ball in play, move him over, couldn't get it done. I mean, this happened all season long, not just to Eugenio Suarez, but it happened a lot to him. And there's a it's not hard to see why. 214 strikeouts? Come on. Let's go, Suarez. He did play every game. He played a good third baseman. He should have probably been a Gold Glove finalist in my eyes. But with all being said, he played in every game and only had 2.2 wins above replacement. Man, I don't know if I feel comfortable starting Eugenio Suarez next year. I think he's obviously older. He's already starting to decline. His power dropped off this year. I think I would try to get him third base next year, and for this year, I would probably give him a B minus.
I'd give him a C. I think he is an average third baseman.
Yeah, I just would say 160 games is very nice when you don't have to worry about constantly bringing up guys like Jose Caballero to play third or freaking Josh Rojas or whatever. It was nice to just have, okay, Eugenio Suarez can hit fifth in the lineup and he's going to play third. That was pretty consistent.
Yeah, but I mean the strikeouts were even more consistent than his ability to play. So yeah, I think he's an average start. I mean, I can see a scenario where we start him, but if we want to keep him at third, we got to upgrade other positions, or you can upgrade at third and keep other positions, but
Yeah.
got to upgrade some places, and that's an option.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to outfield.
Yeah, go to the outfield.
All right. We can go to, I don't know. You want to run through some of these kind of like mediocre guys really fast?
Let's do the starters first. Get those
Okay.
out of the way. You got Julio Rodriguez. I would give Julio a B plus.
Yeah, I'd give him an A minus. Look,
he was the best player on our team, but he has to be better than what he was this year.
He's gonna finish top 10 in MVP voting. I don't think you can give him anything lower than probably an A minus. Julio Rodriguez was really good, I thought. 275, 32 homers. He led our team in batting average, home runs, RBIs, hits, like so many different categories. He had 37 stolen bases, 5.3 wins above replacement, and this was after a really mediocre first half of the season. I don't think he should have made the All-Star team. I really don't. As a Mariner fan, I don't think he should make the All-Star team, which is saying something. And then he really turned it around. He had maybe the best month of baseball of a player ever. I mean, August was insane. He had a week stretch where he hit 17 for 22 or whatever. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah,
absolutely crazy. And that just shows you the ceiling for this guy. But what stops him from being an A or an A plus for me is that down the stretch, last few weeks of the season, we need him the most. And he was maybe your worst player. He was really, really bad. And that was huge. I have to judge you on in your big moments. Are you going to step up? And he didn't. So that's why he's not an A or an A plus for me. But I feel like he has to be an A minus just because. I mean, when you look at the stats, this is what you expected from Julio.
I mean, it's what you expected, but again, I'm judging him based on looking at. If you look at just the stats, he's an A, right? I mean, he was the best player statistically on your team, but baseball is more than just stats. You have to say, look, this is a player who, if you take away the month of August, he would not have been our best player. If you take away the month of August, his OPS would be below 800. If you take away the month of August, he would.
But Levi, if you take away the month of August, the Mariners are freaking. They don't even have
exactly. But what I'm saying is when you have but Drew, you can dock players in their inconsistency.
I agree.
Well, I give him a B plus.
So we're close.
We're close again, but it's like the start and end of the year, which is the two times that you really need your stars to shine, is when he didn't shine. He didn't shine in April, and he didn't shine in September. He shined in the summer months. That was awesome to see in August. I agree. It shows you that he has the ceiling to be an A plus player. But he's not there yet, and he's gonna get there. I think he's gonna get there, but he's only 23. So
you could argue, Levi, that we needed him to show up in August, and he did. Like that was go time for the Mariners.
Yeah, it was, and then we needed him to continue showing up in September, and he didn't.
But I'm saying I was saying it's a bigger spot to show up in the start of the year. like August is like kind of
Yeah,
do or die at that point. Like we're like 10 games behind the Rangers.
but
And all
why was it do or die in August? Because our guys didn't show up at the start of the year.
I mean, you could say that about like you can make that argument later on, and you're like, oh, like why are we in this position in September? Oh, because we had a really good August.
But what I'm saying is, you want your stars to play well in the start of the season because a lot of times the young guys aren't going to play well at the start of the season. The young guys are going to take some time, a lot, or as well as the old guys. A lot of the time, like the players that aren't meant to be good will get off to slow starts, and that's why you need your stars to play well at the start of the season to kind of give your team that spark, which Julio didn't do. Luckily, Kellenic did it for him, but
I would love my guys to be good from April to October, preferably. But
well, Julio was good for not. He was not good from April to October. So I guess if you're judging him on that, then that's not what we were. That's not
I
who
know.
he was.
All right, so
All
we
right,
got
who was our left fielder this year? Was it did Jared end up as our starter?
Kalanick had 105 games played. I don't know if that was at left field,
Let's look.
but
Left field. Yeah,
I think
Kellenic ends up with 72 games in left field, which is yeah, he played a lot more actually. Cade Marlowe had 20 and Dominic Canzone at 20. So Jared Kellenic, yeah, I mean for he was again, I'm gonna dock him points because I think that outside of April he was an F. Um, but because April, April's gonna bring him up to a C minus. Um, he look the problem for Jared Kelenic is he's not reaching his ceiling at all. Like he played the most games this year. He had the most at bats of his career. He ends up with only 3 more runs scored than he did in his rookie season. He did have a lot more hits because he actually got his batting average above 200, which was nice to see. And he hits 253,
yeah,
but less home runs than he did in his rookie season. So the power that Jared Kelenic was known for having great power, the power just disappeared completely this season. And
I'd
people
rather have the
for all the talk about how he's a great young player, his OPS plus only 109, so he's 9% better this season than an average hitter, and he only played half the season because he literally just kicked the cooler and broke his foot. So, in my opinion, he's not a good team player. I think there's a reason why Scott Servais didn't have him playing down the stretch, and I think that reason has more to do with his attitude than his on-field abilities. Because if on-field abilities, he should have been on the lineup every single game in September, but he wasn't. And I think that speaks to the fact that he doesn't sit well with players in the clubhouse. He comes off as very kind of rude, arrogant, kind of temper. He's like DK Metcalf's temper, but on steroids. I mean, it's literally those two should go to anger management counseling together, or else I mean, eventually I'm gonna get just too fed up with both of them. Right now, I
I
think we should trade
I would
Kellenic.
disagree. I would disagree with the fact that he wasn't playing because of his attitude. I think he wasn't playing because he was probably a little bit hurt still. Regardless, I don't think he had a great season. He only had one good month. He didn't play like when our team played the best in August, who wasn't on the field.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's kind of like it's hard to give him a really good grade, but it's also like he did a 253. This was the best season he's had. I don't know. It's a really confusing one for me. I think JK will still probably be our starting left fielder next year. With that being said, I'll give him a C, maybe a C plus. Like I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, look at
So
his career
Jahan,
overall. Rookie
yeah,
season, he was terrible in May, got sent down in June, comes back in August and was terrible again, and then
no,
was decent in September. Last season, he joined the team in what, June, and was terrible the entire season. Every month he played last year was terrible. And then this year, he was literally like the best player in baseball in April, and then was terrible in May, terrible in
I was
June,
such a
injured
fun.
in July, injured in August, and then was decent in September. He's had one great month, two okay months, and like 8 terrible months.
Those 6 or 7 games where he was like playing like in
Yeah.
Chicago against Cubs, and like I was so fun to watch. I remember I was being like every at bat. I tuned in to watch Jared Kelman. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just yeah, I missed that. But let's go to right field. We have about 7 minutes left of this video recording. So
Okay. Got to
yeah,
speed it up.
60 games played. 625 at bats, second most on the team. But then you look all the way to the right, 2.1 wins above replacement, strikeouts 211. I mean, goodness gracious, that puts him at the top of the league. Teoscar Hernandez was meant to be a cornerstone piece of this Mariners season, and now he's probably not going to be on the team next year. I'll give him a D.
I mean, I would give him a better grade than that. Teo, for what it's worth,
Here,
he was an average right fielder. So in my opinion, if you're average at your position, you get a C. I'm gonna give him a C. The problem is that when we traded for him, Teoscar, his past 5 seasons with the Blue Jays have been, if you look at just from a statistical standpoint, his past 5 seasons with the Blue Jays has been B minus, B minus, A minus, B plus, B plus. And this season he's down all the way to a C. So did the Blue Jays see this coming? Or is it just that every single time the Mariners trade for a good player, he gets worse? Because that's what it's starting to feel like. Jesse Winker, same exact thing. Like, why is it that the Mariners just have a way of, we bring in a player who's had great numbers for many seasons in a row. It's like, there's no way this guy's going to get here and be terrible. And then he gets here and he's just terrible. Like, I don't understand how it always happens to us.
right-handed batters, man, does not. They never have done well in T-Mobile Park. I'm just, yeah, I don't know. I agree with you, but yeah, it's tough.
Like, you look at his batting average. Like, he hit 289 in 2020. He hit 296 in 2021. He hit 267 last year, and none of those seasons did he have more than 152 strikeouts. Then he comes to the Mariners. He set his career record in strikeouts by 50. By 50. 50 more strikeouts this year than he's ever had. His batting average 258 is his worst
Yeah,
since 2019. So it's like, how did he get that much worse that quickly just by coming to us? Like, this is a
yeah.
guy who doubles 29, 35. In Seattle, how many does he get? Back down to 29. Home runs 32, 25 last year, 26 this year. So his home runs is actually pretty similar. He's less stolen bases than previous seasons. So it just, and his defense. His defense is the other thing. It wasn't great.
No, not at all. Not at
And
all.
I
I,
was,
I
by the end of the
remember
season,
times a ball was
yeah,
literally just bouncing towards him and he just would miss it. And a single turns into a triple. And then that's a run. Like it's
yeah. By the end of
you
the season, I was saying we should just put Canzone in right field every game and have Teo play DH because that's how bad it was getting.
all right, we have 4 minutes. Let's rip through these last guys. Dylan Moore, 67 games played, 207, had a really good like week. Other than that, he was awful. I'll give him a C minus.
Yeah, for Dylan, the other thing is you're judging him based off the fact that we just signed him to an $8 million contract for 3 seasons. And then in his first season from signing that contract, he starts 35 games, plays in 60, gets injured, and hits
Right.
207. So Dylan Moore, you get a D from me this season. I'm a big Dylan Moore supporter, but you got to do better than that, dude. You got to be
Yeah.
better. You have to earn your contract.
Next up, we got Dominic Canzone. He's a guy from the trade. We traded for Paul Sewald. He was not bad. He wasn't great, but he wasn't meant to be good. He was technically, he was a rookie this year. 44 games played, 135 at bats, 215, played some good defense, kind of good defense, average defense, I guess you could say. He was fine. I'll give him a C.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Are you judging him as a player? Are you judging him
Comparing to
as
other outfielders, obviously worse than that, but when you look at just a rookie outfielder, like he wasn't awful. He was
yeah,
better than
I'll give him a C minus. Negative -0.1 wins above replacement this season. 6 home runs. I think he's essentially a slightly better version of Cade Marlowe.
yeah,
Which is again like you can find to keep him on the roster as a backup, but there's no world where you're either bringing Teoscar back to play right field, or you're signing somebody who's actually better, or you're trading for someone who's better. But you're not going into next season with Canzone as your starting right fielder.
yeah. Speaking of Cade Marlowe's up next. Really, really good couple weeks. I knew it wasn't gonna last. I told Levi that. I told it on this channel. I've seen this
Yeah.
guy all throughout AAA. This guy's not gonna do this, and he didn't. But he did help our team out. He really kept our the beginning of the Jared Kelenic injury. He kept our team afloat there for a couple of weeks. Played really good against the Angels. Had that big grand slam. I'd probably give him a B minus for what he is. Then he fell off, but when he needed to help us, he helped us.
Yeah, I'd give him a C minus. Um, that being said, there's no world where he should be on our team next year.
Yes, I agree. Next up, we have about a minute 40 left. Taylor
Okay, one
Trammell.
more. Oh, let's just skip Trammell. He did nothing. AJ Pollock.
I'll give Taylor Trammell a D.
Yeah, I'd give him a D as well.
Cooper Hummel, I'd give an F. Tommy La Stella,
Yeah.
I'd give an F. Luis Torrens, I'd give whatever. He doesn't get a grade. And then finally, who do we got? AJ Pollock, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who
so
somehow managed to play 34 games as a starter for us this year.
Yeah, he's pretty bad too.
Do you remember a single thing that he did? I remember one home run. That's like the only memory I have of
Yeah.
AJ Pollock this season.
I remember him striking out. I don't know, like the guy's not good.
Like in
No,
my mind, he was on our team for like a week and then we cut him. And it's like, whoa, like we actually kept this guy until June.
yeah, this guy's not good. F,
Yeah, F.
yeah, that was the
And
replacement. Like that was the
and we
outcome.
needed,
Are you serious?
yeah,
Are you
and we
serious?
needed him to be a C. All we
Yeah,
needed from him was to be a C, and he was an F. He disappointed so much.
yeah, I agree. So that's it, guys. Wow, offensive grades done. So thanks for watching. This is the NW Sports F. Any other way, all the way to the end of the video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. We have another channel called Coast to Coast Sports. It's not just Northwest Sports, it's all around the country. So go check that out. And yeah, subscribe.